Hello everyone and welcome to my channel Learn with GRV. My name is Gaurav Singh. So we'll continue with our study of the book Indian Polity by M. Lakshmikant. And in the previous videos we started with the part 1 which is called as Constitutional Framework, and in that we are right now doing chapter 1 which is called as Historical Background. Just 1 minute. Okay. Now we are doing part 1 which is called as historical background. So in the previous video we understood how Britishers came to India, and then in the year 1858 Sepoy Mutiny happened, and then in the subsequent videos we are going to understand basically in two parts: the Crown Rule which happened from 1773, the Crown Rule which happened from 1773 to 1858, and the Company Rule which happened from 1773 to 1858, and the Crown Rule which happened from 1858 to 1947. So today we are going to understand the the Company Rule, and when I say the word company, it basically means East India Company. So the East India Company rule period is captured from 1773 to 1858, and under this we have the first act which is called the Regulating Act of 1773. So we are going to understand what exactly is the Regulating Act of 1773. All right. So when this act came into being, the Act of 1773, then three really important things happened. And why this act was so important? The number one reason was that this was the first step by the British government to actually regulate affairs of the company, that is the East India Company. So that was one reason why this act was really important. The second reason was that it recognized for the first time the political and administrative functions of the company, right? So that was the second reason. So I'll just write it on why this act was so important. First reason was that it was the first time, right? It was the first time when British government took control of the regulating affairs of the company. Okay, and the second important reason was that the British government for the first time recognized the political and administrative powers of the company. And the third reason was that it laid the foundation of central administration in India. Right. So why this act was important? For three reasons basically. Because the reason number one is that it was the first step by the British government to control and regulate affairs of East India Company. The second was because it recognized the political and administrative rights of the East India Company, and the third was that it was the beginning of central administration in India. So now the question is, what were the significant features of this act? So let us go one by one. The Act of 1773 we are talking about. So the first significant feature was that the governor of Bengal was basically made the Governor General of Bengal. So this was the first thing, that the Governor of Bengal was made the Governor General of Bengal, and a member and an executive council of 4 members were assigned to him. Now the question is, so who was the first Governor General? The first Governor General was Lord Warren Hastings. Okay, so this was the feature number 1 of this act. Let me just delete this and explain to you again. Okay, so the feature number one of this was that we had the governor of Bengal who was made the Governor General of Bengal. Right, this was the first significant feature of this act. And who was the first Governor General? It was Lord Warren Hastings. Now, what was the second important feature of this act? The governors of Bombay and Madras presidencies were made subordinate to Governor General of Bengal. Earlier they were independent and they were operating independent. So now what happened? The first thing that Britishers are doing is they're making Governor General of the Governor of Bengal as the Governor General of Bengal. The second thing that they're doing is that the governors of Bombay and Madras, right? Bombay and Madras presidencies. So there is this word called as presidencies. You can just note down this word presidencies. We will come to this later on. Okay. So the second thing that happened was that the governors of Bombay and Madras were made subordinate to Governor General of Bengal. So basically he was given more power, and earlier they were operating independently. Right. So Governor of Bombay and Madras made subordinate. Okay, so what was then the third and important feature of this act? The third feature was that it established Supreme Court, right? So it basically, this act of 1773, it established Supreme Court in the year 1774, and it appointed one Chief Justice and 3 other judges. Okay, so this was the third important feature. What was the fourth important feature of this act was that it prohibited servants of the company, that is servants of East India Company, to take part in any private trade or accept any presents and bribes from natives. So now there are two important terms here. First is, what do you mean by servants of the company? And what do you mean by the word native? So we'll see it in subsequent chapters when we actually come to know this, because right now it's not given. Now let us come to the fifth feature of this act. The fifth feature of this act was that more control of British government over the company by requiring court of directors. So who were court of directors? People who were like in the governing body of East India Company, to report its revenue, civil and military affairs in India. Okay. That is more control over company. Okay. So एक बार फिर से देख लेते हैं so that it becomes more clear. हम बात कर रहे हैं, शुरू से एक बार बात करते हैं. हमने बात की कि 1605 में ब्रिटिशर्स केम टू इंडिया टू डू ट्रेड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी. 1765 में क्या होता है, जो ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी होती है, इट गेन्स इट्स दीवानी राइट्स. सो दीवानी राइट्स का बेसिकली मतलब है राइट्स ओवर रेवेन्यू एंड राइट्स ओवर सिविल जस्टिस. एग्जैक्टली ये क्या है डिटेल में बाद में समझेंगे. ओके, सो नाउ वी हैव पास्ड द ईयर 1765. Now in the year 1858 Sepoy mutiny happens, and in the wake of Sepoy mutiny the British government decides that we are going to take control of the Indian governance, right? And then in 1947 we got independence, and in 1946 the Constituent Assembly was made, and in 1950 on 26th January India got its constitution. So now the period is divided into basically two parts, as I have explained in the previous videos. One is the company rule, which is from 1773 to 1858, and then is the British Crown rule, which is from 1858 to 1947. Right now we are understanding the company rule, and in the company rule the first act that we are understanding is the regulating act Regulating Act of 1773, and in this Regulating Act of 1773, it has basically these 5 important features. So let us go about these features one by one. The first feature was that the Governor of Bengal was made the Governor General of Bengal, right? The Governor of Bengal was made the Governor General of Bengal. And who was the first Governor General? His name is Lord Warren Hastings. So this is the first important point. The second is the Governor of Bombay and Madras presidencies were made subordinate to Governor General of Bengal. Alright. The third feature of this act was that it established Supreme Court in the year 1774, and it had 1 Chief Justice and 3 judges. This was the third feature of this act. The fourth feature was that it wanted the servants of the company, when I say servants of the company, servants of East India Company, to prohibit from doing private trade. That is, they should do what company is doing and do not indulge in anything which is private to them, and do not take bribes from natives. So we will see the meaning of the word servants of the company and native in subsequent chapters. Then the fifth point was that the British government wanted more control over the East India Company. That is why it wanted the Court of Directors. So Court of Directors are basically people who run the East India Company to report its revenue, civil and military affairs in India. So these were the 5 features of this act. I hope you understood from the video. Do not worry about the notes. I am also making these notes in the form of a presentation on a Google slide as I am making these videos, and I will attach that Google slide in every video so that it is convenient for you to actually go through it and you don't waste time in making notes when I am teaching. Okay, so this was for this video. In the next video, when we are going to study about the Amending Act of 1781, right? This was 1773. Then we'll go to the year of 1781 and then see what happens there, right? Till that time, thank you very much for watching. This is Gaurav Singh signing off.